Hi, Carrie.
Hey, Sandra.
Who are we? Who are we?
Girl, screaming divas.
You can do that really well now because you've been singing
I've been singing. I've been singing just a little bit.
just a little bit. And we have an amazing guest today.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. We had to talk to him, didn't we? Because this has just been a whirlwind for both of you, to be quite honest.
Yep. Craig Colclough,
Yes.
who is my Macbeth here at the Lyric Opera.
Hallelujah.
And you actually knew him before I did.
Yeah, we've done two productions of Tosca together and got to know each other, and I just adore him. He is really just a wonderful human being with this amazing, generous heart. And I was so excited for him when this happened. He was working with you, he was working with Damon McVicker, and I just thought, I couldn't wait for him to know you and for you to know him. So we had to talk to him to find out how it all went down, how it happened, how he's feeling, pandemic, singing, family, kids.
Family, yeah. I mean, what a big thing having 3 kids and a beautiful wife, and
Yep.
for him to have this opportunity I think this is really going to just skyrocket his career. I really do, in my heart of hearts. So all of you, just listen to this and watch this interview. It's so inspiring, and he's such an inspiring person.
Absolutely. So real, so true, so there, present in the moment. And I just love his heart. It's a big one. So
check it out. This is a great clip.
here's a clip, people.
And we will see you all live in an opera house.
Can you believe it? Can you believe it? It's awesome.
Finally. Hallelujah, as my
yeah.
girlfriend would say.
Stay safe, get the job, wear your mask, whatever you got to do. We'll see you at the theater.
Come to the opera. Bye.
It's that differentiate, if there are any young singers like watching this, it's that difference between the ego trying to be the best, technical, like a functional, this is my business.
Yes.
I'm not saying how good I am because of how good I am. I'm saying how good I am because I am working. I am doing a job. And if I don't have an ability that somebody else has, it's my business responsibility to go get that ability. Absolutely. Like that, it's not about me. It's not about me being the best. It's like I feed my family. Like I have a job. I'm trying to like afford a house, like simple crap that you just have to be like, no, I have my own life. I have my own self-identity outside of this. This is a technical exploration of where I sit in that hierarchy of,
love that.
If you call somebody at the last minute, if I can go be that one in Chicago that they call and they're like, oh, we're happy to have you. Oh.
Hello.
Are we just gonna
hello? There we go.
There we go.
Oh,
Macbetto. To say Macbetto.
Yeah. I love that view out your window. I feel so incompetent because I don't have my like ring light or anything, I don't have my normal setup.
Oh, honey bunny. So if I were to show you the setup here.
Hot mess.
And Carrie set up. Okay. Carrie, do it. Move left or right.
There's some avocados holding up the thick pictures. You see my avocados?
Yay. Avocados.
Life on the road, everything. People.
I'm from California, so like.
I love me my avocados.
Yes.
All right. Well, cheers. Normally cheers. We have alcohol, but
it's water. We're all singing.
We're all singing, and you have coffee. Oh, you're still in coffee mode because we had a show last night.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
It was and you sound like a bass today.
Oh, every morning after a show, I can't phonate above like a middle C. Yeah. I'm done. And I'll go out in public. Oh, sorry.
No, go.
I'll talk to somebody in public and my voice will crack like I'm a teenager, like I'll be at a grocery store. I'm like, excuse me. Pardon me.
I'm just lucky that the next to last note in Macbeth for me is the D flat, because I'm glad it's not sooner in the show. Because if it were sooner in the show, I'd be like, peace out, people.
Yeah.
Peace out, people.
So we have to tell everybody who you are. You are Macbetto.
I'm Colclough.
Hello.
I'm Sandra's Macbeth.
No,
I am.
Yeah. There you go. You're my hubs.
No, I'm a gender fluid father of 3 who married my high school sweetheart and am an opera singer, a budding opera singer.
Budding.
And a very good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And now a very good friend of mine.
Thank you. I would have been so scared to sing with you if I didn't know that you were good friends with Carrie, because like you're one of those people who, like I grew up being like, oh my God, she's so amazing and she's so pretty and all the things. So but then once I like saw that the Screaming Divas were happening and I knew you were friends with Carrie, and Carrie and I did a couple Toscas back to back, which was just blessed. And I was like, okay, if she's friends with Carrie, she's totally cool and down to earth, like good human being, like this is gonna be fun.
Okay. Yeah. Craig, we have to talk about this.
Yes.
Let's just start out from the gate. So we'll eventually talk about pandemic and all that kind of stuff, but you were called last minute to fill in Chicago Lyric Opera Macbeth.
Opening night, new production.
You want, new production. David McVicker, you hadn't worked with him before. You hadn't worked with Sandra before. I mean, this is like some big mama jama stuff. So tell me. Company debut. Yeah. Yes, thank you. So tell me, let's hear the story.
Hasn't been anything on stage for 18 months.
So tell me, like, what happened? Walk us through, because people are going to want to know this. Walk us through what happened.
Luckily, my history with Macbeth has pretty much all been in this same vein. When I did it first in Antwerp, Opera Vlaanderen they serve Ghent and Antwerp, and usually they'll do both houses in one season, but they want to do a longer run on Macbeth, so they had already contracted one baritone to do the run in Antwerp, and I was contracted for the next season in Ghent. The gentleman in Antwerp started having vocal problems. They called me in to cover, so I had only half learned the role. I got there the exact same day as the maestro, because he was a week late as well. Oh. He did the first music run through and was like, this is not going to work. You upstairs in a rehearsal room with me in 2 hours. We sang the entire role that I did not have memorized, of course. And then the next day they were like, you're in, you're blocking.
So your whole, and then of course, like
so, the Met. Wait. So I was talking for a week. Yeah. So that was and it's kind of hard. It's kind of a hard sing.
Kind of?
Just a little bit.
It's massive.
A little bit. It's not written in a very kind way, and it's for a bass baritone. It's also particularly high, and I don't do a lot of bel canto work. I do mostly German or Verismo crap, and
Verismo crap.
Verismo crap, so I learned it and didn't quite get it into my body the right way, but just animaled through, just totally animaled through. Then we took it and did it in Luxembourg, and we did it and then we did it in Ghent the next year. So I got to start working it in, and there was a different conductor in Luxembourg who was an orchestral conductor, and they responded so fascinating. It was like anytime you took a little rubato, they'd think you were signaling like a hard retard, and they would like, and I'm like, no, right back on it, please don't, like, that was just a thread. That was just a thread. So that was also a good trial by fire to go, like, do you really know this? Like, you have to know this. You have to be able to lead an orchestra who doesn't know it.
Okay.
And then I was asked to understudy it at the Met, and they had asked me to understudy Falstaff as well, but I didn't want to get pigeonholed into just being a cover. And I had already covered the same production at the Royal Opera House and done Pistolo with Bryn.
Okay.
So I wasn't I was like, I know this production. I've already done all the blocking. I've already like been in it. And like, I didn't feel like I like politically needed it. And I didn't want to be like, you're the cover. And I was like, but then they offered me to cover Macbeth, and Domingo was doing the Macbeth. And I had worked for years with Domingo at in Los Angeles.
Right.
He had conducted me. We had done shows together, and I thought, okay, if I'm going to cover at the Met, this is the one time where politically, if I'm in the room and it goes, oh yes, this is Craig, you know, oh, he's very good. We have him in Los Angeles, you know, oh, this is Craig.
You do that way too well.
I'm sure he'll love that.
Very good.
Yeah, I thought, okay, that's the one time where I'm like, if people hear him say my name, they'll go, oh, he's somebody, you know, like that whole
right.
That whole, you know,
bullshit,
thing.
All the bullshit. Yeah.
Yes. So I was there at the Met as the Me Too accusations and everything came, and he retired in the US. I was in the room with him through that whole process. I was at the final dress rehearsal that was his final performance. So then as the production started, I became the principal cover, and then Lucic got sick, and voila, Met debut as Macbeth.
Wow.
Absolutely. It was just this insane, yeah, totally.
And then, okay, so that you're Macbeth has a thing with you. There's like a halo of going on around this role. So then we're a pandemic, you know, nobody's singing a whole lot, and then what happens?
Yeah. So I luckily I had a summer festival in Austria, the Tiroler Festspiel, which got out like my serious like deep panic after coming back from the pandemic. Like that's where I had like near breakdown.
That I'm walking through right now, because you think, I know I did this, I've sung this role 100 times. Why is my brain having a war with my voice and my body? It's a war. When you get rid of the war, it's fine. With the war wins, it's not fine.
It's a mental game right now. It's a huge mental game, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're not on our A game yet.
No, okay, wait. We need to talk about that. For me personally,
we got to hear.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to finish the story about Macbeth. So then you are summer festival in Europe, and then do you get the call there? Or do you get the call when you get home?
I didn't get the call till I came home, because I was supposed to be in Toronto. I was supposed to be OC doing Friar Melitona in Forza, and they canceled their whole fall.
Right. And went digital.
Oh yeah. So I was gonna. They were really good to me. They're really good to me. They were trying to put together a video production of Johnny Skiki, and even though it would have been a small role, they were like, "Come and just do one of these tiny roles. That way we can still pay you your fee." I mean, they were like super classy, and honestly, it was going to be a pretty good gig because it was like 2 weeks. You know, suddenly I'm like, "Oh, okay, 2 weeks for the same." You know, yeah. But then Thursday, I got the call to be, hey, can you be here Monday? And I was like, heck yes, I can be there Monday.
Because we had one baritone, Lucas Salsi, he canceled. Then we had a Russian baritone. Don't know the whole story about that, but he canceled.
Something pandemic-y. Yeah.
Something pandemic-y. Yeah. And then, so you were the third baritone. And thank God, because we are having a blast doing this. And Craig is an amazing, amazing singing actor. I have to tell everybody out there, if you haven't seen the show, he throws himself into this. You are 1,000,000% committed to David McVicker's production, which let's go into that now. and how this whole process went, because this was a new production, my role debut, and I was not quite on point with the words first week or so. But David's concept for this was very physical for you.
Yeah, and also pretty triggering because on the one hand, I completely agree because my subtext, which was never addressed in the other productions I did, was that it's all about the lost child. It's all about Lady Macbeth, and because it's all in the text, his whole obsession is that Banquo has kids, Banquo has progeny, and that just that tiny seed that Lady Macbeth and him are falling apart, it just screams unresolved trauma around the loss of a child, and that pain pushing us apart. And that's why the witches know that if we tell him about this, it's going to drive him right into the ground. So David, to have like that movie quality stillborn baby on stage, that took, my daughter came out unresponsive and not breathing. And 7 surgeons had to rush in, and I could see her on the operating table and them putting tubes into her and everything. Like, so I've seen it, seen the literal, you know, real life of that. So it definitely took many moments of me hanging out with that baby not to have a total meltdown during the show. But it's also really nice because then when you bring out the other baby that's a little more grayscale in the coffin, I get to cry on stage. I get to like legit like actually cry because it's in the ballet. I don't have to sing while I'm crying. So it's kind of, it's a cathartic morning every evening where I'm like, at least I get to let it go. At least I get to release on stage. And that's,
Carrie, there's a lot of blood and there's a lot of dead babies in this show. I'm just going to say, and a lot of coffins, and it's very dark and it's very effective. I would say.
Well, I mean, I don't think I know one of his shows that hasn't, you know, been effective, but I can't even imagine. I mean, I know what certain shows do to me and what you bring home and what, you know, to separate what you've just worked on, even in the rehearsal room. And then you come home with these emotions and these feelings. I mean, I'm about to go do the death scene with Mimi, and certain things that she talks about and certain moments are so paralleled in my own life that it's really, you remember these things, you remember these emotions because you're pulling on them to be that singing actress. And so honestly, I mean, I like to eat my emotions. So for me, it's really hard not to like stop by somewhere on the way home and be like, oh, I really need that cookie. So, you know what I mean? It's like, and that doesn't, and which is compounds itself because that doesn't make me actually really feel good physically. So then you're just in this vicious cycle of trying to figure out, and trying to figure out how to manage your work life with these kinds of emotions and these amazing directors that pull this stuff out of you as what, and then manage a personal life. I mean, I don't think people, singers and actors talk about that, you know, like famous actors talk about that, how they dive deep into roles and things like that, but singers aren't talking so much about that. So you've really been through the ringer, man. I mean, because there's not only getting called at the last minute, you're one job to the other, so you're not home with family. And then you've told us each personally the hot mess of apartment drama that you went through. I mean, it has been one thing after another.
Can we tell that story?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could just like hug you through the Zoom and then take you out and feed you cookies and cake.
Can we tell the story about your first apartment here in Chicago?
Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. I'll do a quick summary because I'm oh God. So last minute trying to find Airbnbs, you know, for the long haul, and trying to spend $5,000 a month because after the pandemic we're broke, and I'm like, no, we need to get a discount. So we find a place that's actually pretty decent price, and it's only 2 blocks away from the Opera House. And it looks like it looks like it's fairly new. Like, because, you know, you see Airbnbs and like some are like, you know, you live in a room where the people are all like, oh, we've been Airbnb for years, and you know, here's your little coffee, and here's your, and they're super sweet, and you know, it's all
Right.
homey and comfortable. This one seemed more city based and you know, just a little more sterile. But I was like, great, I don't care. It's just me. Like I don't need anything. So I show up, and right off the bat, I should have run to the hills because the front door lock didn't work, and the person had to call in a locksmith to replace the lock. There was no silverware. There was no there wasn't a broom. You know, like simple shit like that. You're like, so I tried to be really nice about it, and I was immediately in rehearsal. What, Carrie? Yeah.
No, I remember a post you did something about like I wash myself with dish soap or something because that was the only soap that was in the apartment.
Oh, that's why you smelled like dishes that day.
That's why you smelled like Dawn dish soap. Yeah.
Ding.
I got off a red eye at 4 a.m. Oh well, I got to the place at 4 a.m. I'm trying to check in with like the oblivious attendant security guard downstairs, you know. And they're like, I don't know, you know, oh, here, okay, here's your stuff. I get up there, the lock doesn't work. There are none of the listed amenities, and the only soap in the apartment is because if I read on Airbnb that it comes with soap and it has a toaster and it has all these things, I trust that the list, because you have to click each one, you have to like click it if it's not there. So yeah, I show up. I did not bring my toiletry bag, so I was like, all right, shower with dish soap. Here we go. Because you know, after a plane, you're gross, you're nasty. And yeah,
but that's not the worst. Oh no, it gets worse. It gets worse, folks.
Yeah.
Wait for it.
Yeah. Glamour. We are highfalutin opera singers. But yeah, I like somebody's comment where on the dish soap it's got the little duck, you know, that's like, we rescue animals from oil spills. And somebody was like, hey, if it's gentle enough for the oil spill animals, like
enough for you.
So fast forward to what, 2 days before opening?
Fast forward, I got light food poisoning for the final dress rehearsal. So I felt like I was going to pass out in the first half. That was great. Oh, don't undercook your beef. That's a lesson there. And the very next morning, I got woken up by no less than 6 police officers slamming on my door, right? I wake up, I don't know who it is. I just
at what time? Like 7, 8 in the morning?
Yeah, it was 8 in the morning. Just, you know, right. I mean, after a dress rehearsal, it was early, you know, for us. And they weren't identifying themselves repeatedly. So I thought, is this like, who the hell is this? And finally they paused and I was like, please stop. Who are you? And I just woke up, you know, like, and they were like, it's the sheriff's department, open the door. And I was just like, okay, fine. I opened the door, like they were pissed. Like, why aren't you opening the door? I'm like, you just woke me up and you didn't identify yourself. Like, why would I open the door? Right. I'm in a city. Like, it's fucking Chicago. Like, right. I'm not gonna, you know. And there was a guy standing there with one of those massive battering rams, like big heavy metal, like ready to smash the door down. You know, they're all like all their gear and all the crap. And I'm just like, I'm all disheveled and, you know, I'm just like, what? Like, what are you? So they escorted me downstairs. They said, you can take your cell phone and any medication. Are there any weapons in the apartment? I'm just like, oh God, would you please, like, just stop. Like, I was like, I'm renting from the guy. So the guy I was renting from was not paying his lease. So of course I, in the unit, am the one that gets evicted. And I don't know what drug cartel they were expecting to find in this, you know, high scale apartment complex. I don't know. I don't know what they thought was going to be in there, but they were ready. They were ready and they were grumpy.
So how long did they keep you, like, wondering who you were? How long did it take for them to know that this was a mistake through Airbnb and all that?
Well, I was impressed because they asked for my ID. I gave them my ID. And then very quickly, they asked me what my wife's name was. And I was like, oh, well, my wife's Amanda. And they were like, okay. So somehow they had looked me up quickly and found my information and and were verifying my information by asking me a family relation. I was like,
Okay.
damn, technology, like, okay. So once I was downstairs, then they were like, just hands off. And they were like, you can't go back in the apartment without the building escorting you in to get your stuff, because no one is allowed to be in there. It now belongs back to the apartment complex. So then just to go get my stuff, I had to have a maintenance guy come and watch me as
And the
I
lyric
went.
helped you too,
Like,
right?
they did. They helped me a lot. I had Kevin on speed dial, and he came. Luckily, we were close, and he was in the lobby by the time the police got me down there. And
Oh, awesome. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the
So
Opera House really helped out. Thank God.
yes, and they were willing to cover, like, to help me find a place immediately. And finally, the building I was in realized how incredibly crappy they had been, and they offered to put me up in like a family guest suite for until
Oh,
we
right.
opened.
Okay.
Yeah, because they were, they had to go through levels of approval, but finally they were like, yeah, okay, we were turds about this. And I'm like,
Okay, so did Airbnb give you your money back for that apartment?
it's still going through the process, because I made the mistake of doing half the contract on Airbnb and half the contract privately to try to save money. So there's a loop. He got me. It was, I got, and yep. So I got the full, now I know what it's like to be a victim of fraud. It's quite exciting.
Right before you open Macbeth house debut with Sondra Romanovsky, David McVicker. Holy crap, man.
Pandemic, first big show back after. So let's segue here away from unhappiness and go to more unhappiness. Let's talk about
Yes.
the pandemic and how you, living in LA, how were you during the pandemic and with the kids and the family and everything? How did you survive?
That's a
Hmm.
really good therapist.
Hmm.
Um, I started a new medication.
Nice.
I was not healthy. I was not healthy in any way mentally. Gardening kind of saved me, because I just go out and just throw all my physical energy into like paving with rocks and digging stuff, and I get a lot of spiritual comfort from plants and nature. So sometimes I struggled a lot, and that was also, the beginning was also during the Black Lives Matter movement. Um, and to watch everybody that you work with and that you've come to love kind of like simultaneously ruined. Um, and also like the mental ego issue, because there's years as a young artist where you're living off of other people. And I had finally gotten to the point in my career where financially we were in the black and I was doing it on my own.
Right.
And to have to slip back into living off of other people and grants and charity and my parents was surprisingly painful. I thought I was pretty good at it, but I didn't realize just how much my ego needed to feel self-reliant and how much I was enjoying that. And also the fear, as you know, like of losing other artists out of the career who are like, forget it, I'm going to be an accountant, I'm done. People who are like, no, no, you're valuable, like, oh God, like,
Right.
geez.
Yeah.
um
And supporting a
so yeah.
family, 3 kids at home.
Well, okay. See, that was a blessing, though. That was a big blessing, because just a year and a half before the pandemic, we had a burnout. We had our third child, and we had been living on the road for about 7 years, homeschooling.
Mhm. Which
Yeah,
was
fully,
amazing.
fully.
I have to say, I mean, what you guys accomplished and pulled off and how well-rounded and how awesome and happy these kids were in that whole time, at least when I was around you and I got to see these kids, beautiful children, that it was an amazing thing what you and your wife accomplished and did for so long. You know, some people just do it before they hit school, but you had 3 of them. You're doing the whole thing everywhere you go, how you find housing, how you find, I mean, all the stuff that your wife posts of what she does and what you guys do with those kids everywhere and what they're learning and stuff. I mean, this is some awesome stuff that these kids got to live through, but you guys hit a wall. Right. So you guys hit a wall and then you're like, we got it. Let's just be in one place. So you pick California.
Yes. Yes, right around the corner from my parents. And
who are super cool too. They're awesome people.
Yeah, they're the only reason I was able to do any of this, like hands down. Just, you know, constant support, just ridiculously supportive.
Brilliant.
So of course we moved back near them because we're not gonna we're like
right.
But that was the hidden blessing, is we had just started renting a house. Where if we had been Airbnb or in another country, I don't know what would have happened. I have no idea how we would. So we had the moratorium on eviction. We had grant programs through both our city and the County of Los Angeles that we applied for, and were able to get rent assistance. So as far as safety, we were safe, we were fed. Those things, when I look back, I go, okay, there were massive blessings there, you know what I mean? Like, but the mental health, not good. And I had just, when I was young, when I was a kid, I was very much a homebody. I would cook with my mom, and I thought Claremont was just this like East Coast style little college town that happened to be on the West Coast, really affluent, really beautiful, like manicured. And I was like, this is perfect. This is paradise. I don't need excitement. I never need to travel. I'll just live here for the rest of my life. Opera did not agree. Yeah, right? Like what? I had no.
It never does, right?
So
we have this big plan, and then we go, oop, nope, that didn't work that way.
Whoop. Yeah.
So when did you get back singing?
What?
When did you start singing again with the pandemic?
Oh, afterwards?
Yeah.
Well, I did, like, LA Opera had me do a digital recital, which kept me busy, but I was so mentally unhealthy that it took a little extra time. And they were really cool about it. They're like, hey, there's no timeline. Do what you got to do. Get it to us when you get it to us. But it did give me something. It did give me something to do, and it was fun to record it and work with. Do either of you know Jeremy Frank?
No.
At LA? Yeah, Sandra, you probably worked with him in Los Angeles. Absolutely adore Jeremy. He has taught me an incredible amount, and he was really into, because he was teaching at USC and also doing all this other stuff and assisting with the chorus, and also as an amazing accompanist coach. And it's like he's all over the place. So he tackled the tech issue of it, and it got incorporated with MIDI and doing home recordings and all this stuff. So he and I would sing for him, and then he'd set his tempos, and then I would record with his MIDI track, and then he would accompany acoustically. Like we went back and forth and like made like a pretty decent recital remotely.
Nice.
So that was really fun. That was the only thing I really did over the pandemic time. But that was the thing I was going to say, was the hardest thing about the pandemic was I had finally built myself into a mobile traveler. Like I had recrafted myself with this little town homebody person to finally being like, I am into cities. I am into this travel and adapting to new places. And then the brakes slammed on and said, that new person you are
gone.
Now you can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's just at home and all this pent up energy. And like, I don't know about you two, but I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie when it comes to performing.
Really? I didn't know that, Craig. Didn't know.
Scarpia.
But but that's what makes it fun, you know? I mean, that's what makes working with singers like you two, that's the joy for me, is that it's actually really telling a story. It's not just about your high notes. It's not just about singing. It's about this amalgamation. Is that the right word? Amalgamation. It's about Sandra's about ready to fall out of her chair. So it's about putting that together, and then that's where joy is where the singing and the storytelling and the energy that you are ping-ponging these things back with your colleagues is just such a brilliant. It's why I love it. It's what it keeps me coming back. I mean, that's the joy. So when you don't have that anymore, you don't know what to do with yourself in your house. It's horrible.
I got a question for both of you.
Go for it.
So I saw, the first time I ever saw Craig perform was at ENO in Tosca with Gary. Now, I want to know from both of you, you had both sung Tosca in Italian, and then you had to learn it. No, you hadn't.
I did it once.
First. She had done it in concert. I was English first. It screwed me up.
Massively.
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about, was how is it singing an opera that is written in Italian and then translating it to English? Like, for me, that would have been a huge mind fuck.
You know, all I know is singing the aria made me giggle, you know, because it's in English, you know, I live for art. And you're like, what? Huh? Did I really just sing that in English? I get it. I get why they do it. I mean.
Was it hard? Craig, was it hard for you?
I grew up in musical theater. So like English is my jam. I think I'd already done Fanciulla del West there. So I had already done a Puccini in English. Where it messed me up was then when we went and did it at Canada the following year, is our conductor thought my Italian was shit because all my word stresses were wrong. And I was like, no, like, hold on. I know my Italian's not bad. Like, just let me, like, the way you learn each phrase was what so it was lucky at ENO I didn't know it the right way, but it was the later unsorting it, and then finally by the time we got to performances, she was like, oh, okay, you know what you're doing, you're not like completely a moron.
Right. So that was your first Scarpia, and that was your first fully staged Tosca.
Yes, because I'd just done the concert version just to try it out, to see if it was something I wanted to say yes to.
Okay.
And then we went from there to COC.
Right. Toronto.
Tosca there in Italian. Yeah.
How is it now singing Macbeth after you were singing what, Albrecht?
Yeah.
Right before this Macbeth?
Yeah.
Was that like a whoa pivot?
Whoa. Yeah, well, Wagner's much easier for me. The vowels and getting to use my consonants, and the way it has more extreme jumps. It doesn't plateau. The legato lines aren't this, like high bel canto thing, so I'm much more just physiologically and my training suited for like for instance, like Telramund was just a freaking roller coaster of like, and it was cool, and it's cool because there are some of those Wagner high, like held and baritone roles that can just destroy people, and I'm like, that's my voice, that is what I should be doing. Okay. And when I sing that, I go, yes, I can get to the point where I'm one of the best in the world at this. Like that, this is my home, this is me. When I come to something like this, I have a huge imposter syndrome, where there are other like baritones who sing other Verdi baritone roles that are all just the whole time, like, and
is that a technical term?
It is.
With the arm. Or, yeah.
Well, if you can phonate today, like I couldn't even know.
voices are just a step and a half higher than mine. So, so when I come to something like this, that is the ultimate top of my range, where I'm having to sing like a tenor and like a high dramatic tenor for my voice type, and also, you know, the Verdi role that I've done several times is Falstaff, and it's written incredibly different. Well, there are some huge parallels in the recits, in the monologues. Amazing parallels where just some of the technical ways that two men say things and process emotion is really cool. How Verdi is so clear, and it really allows an actor to speak sincerely. But Falstaff is so late. Falstaff is so late, Verdi, that it's really a different beast, and there's no real aria. There's no and so my imposter syndrome in Macbeth is like, you know, and it's so weird that I've gotten to do it at these high profile places, and yet in my mind I don't fully believe in myself. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
and it's going well, but still somewhere in my thank you, but somewhere in my internal, like, subconscious mind, I still don't I don't know. I have some inner, I have to get to a point where I've really mastered the technique and really done more of these like aria rep things to really feel like this is me now. Do you know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of the difference for me between the German rep and this rep, where I'm like, I still see other people in a career where I'm like, you're better than me. Okay, you bet. Like, I got work to do. I'm that, you know, like, you have that ability and I'm gonna go get that, but I don't. I'm still. I got more work to do.
I kind of like put it in the, like, in our time zone, not, you know, past singers, but singers that I'm competing with for jobs. Who are the top 10? Am I in the top 10 or am I in the top 20 or 30? Where am I for this specific role? Does that make sense? Like, I know exactly where my Mimi is, where my Donna Elvira is, where Tosca is, where am I in the, and then how much work do I need to get to be in the top 10, where I don't care who they pick out of the top 10 because we're all fabulous. You know what I mean? So.
And I think that takes a big person to do that, you know? Good for all of us, I think, for doing that, because a lot of people just say, I'm the best.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever said that, but I just want to be put in a pocket where I'm cool if we're, you know, because we all know, I mean, well, I don't know about Sandra, but I know Craig and I know where we know if, like, where there's 3 or 4 of us that have been called for something, and then who are they going to pick? And I'm okay if the other 3 or 4 are in my top 10.
It's that differentiate, if like, if there are any young singers like watching this, it's that difference between the ego trying to be the best, technical, like a functional, this is my business.
Yes.
I'm not saying how good I am because of how good I am. I'm saying how good I am because I am working. I am doing a job. And if I don't have an ability that somebody else has, it's my business responsibility to go get that ability. Absolutely. Like that, it's not about me. It's not about me being the best. It's like, I feed my family. Like, I have a job. I'm trying to like afford a house, like simple crap that you just have to be like, no, I have my own life. I have my own self-identity outside of this. This is a technical exploration of where I sit in that hierarchy of,
love that.
If you call somebody at the last minute, if I can go be that one in Chicago that they call and they're like, oh, we're happy to have you.
I have a quote that I heard the other day, and I wanted to share this with you guys because it really resonated with me. And it is, confidence is silent, insecurities are loud.
Oh, I've been very loud lately.
But does that not fit right now what we are all dealing with? You know?
You know what's cool though, is that every singer I've talked to is being loud right now. Because all of those, I don't want to say everyone, but most of the singers that didn't really sing a whole lot through the pandemic that are now coming out and getting ready for things, getting called at the last minute for stuff, it is a massive mental insecurity moment, because I know I did this before, but why isn't my voice responding like it did before? Why isn't my body responding like it did before? It comes, but it's slower, and it's coming and coming and coming and better and better and better. But it's a mental, I mean, excuse my French, but it's just a mental fuck. And nobody is talking about this on social media. Everybody's making it look like it is jam on toast with whipped cream, people. And
the celebration of being back. The celebration of being back is
fantastic. Love it.
Yes.
But there's another side to it that, you know, and mental health through the pandemic, mental health getting back on the horse again, which is a whole nother thing. Mental health being apart from your loved ones that you've been in a house with for 18 months. Does that make sense? It's this whole, it's a whole thing, people. And as grateful as I am for being at work, this is a process of walking through this too. And let's be honest about that. Let's put that out there and say,
and do I deserve this?
What?
You know, sorry, a lot of people are dealing with that. Am I deserving of this? Because we've been away from it for so long. And wow, like, there's so many other people standing behind me that want this. It's a heavy weight on our shoulders because they chose us for these jobs and not all those people behind us.
Well, and then honestly, there's guilt for complaining about being away from home, or guilt about stressing because there are so many people that would kill to sing this job. Does that make sense? So then there's this horrible, I feel guilt for feeling the way that I'm feeling, because I should be, you know, overjoyous and through the moon that I'm working, but at the same time it's just this, it's insane what's going on in my mind. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm probably the only one on social media talking about it, but I know I'm not the only one because of private conversations I've had.
Yep.
It's that tricky balance in a privileged life, right? Being you know, from a wealthy nation, being Caucasian, being like all the privileges that you have there. It's a tricky balance of figuring out how to appreciate your privilege and also not discounting your trauma.
There, I love that. Exactly.
Beautifully said, Craig.
Yep.
It's like, how do I simultaneously acknowledge that my pain is legitimate and that my dishealth, you know, that the things that have been awful are awful, while also like, because if you just discount it and push it away, you're also damaging yourself, and then you have no ability to use your privilege or to shine a light or to do anything and to value, like, you know, you have to hold both. It's weird.
You have to hold both. And then you know, with the whole technical thing, again, your voice back on, there was a moment where I thought, okay, listen, Carrie, we need to get over ourselves, because there's a moment you gotta get over a little bit, because you need to make this worth it of being away, worth it for dealing with the other shit that's going on. So what are you going to do? Are you going to figure this out and sing the shit out of this and enjoy every moment of it? You know, how are you going to look at it? And I love that. And, you know, of course, that mentality comes not only from the own therapy I've been through, but also with talking with other singers about this and their own process and how they're figuring it out. So yes, what am I trying to say? Own those feelings, but then also figure out a way through it, that is a healthy way of holding all of that in one space.
Yep. And muscle memory is an amazing thing. Singing roles, right, Carrie? Singing roles that you have sung before.
Muscle memory is an amazing thing, but it's mental. It's allowing your brain to say, trust the muscle memory, trust the ride, trust your body. For me,
right? Absolutely.
Trust it. It's there. You have it.
But I had I've been having a little bit of a flip influence of that, which is weird. With after so much time off, some of my older muscle memory is trying to resurface, not my better technique that is more recent. And I'm like, I haven't made that mistake in 5 years.
When did that start to just creep back in?
What is that? What is that?
Well, you told me something last night that really surprised me. That you started as a bass?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I mean,
I didn't know that.
always a bass or a bass baritone. I mean, yeah, like when I was young and auditioning, like I was singing bonquo, and that's like, oh
It's
God,
like,
I shouldn't be doing that. Like,
I
yeah,
was
and I
shocked when you told me that. And when did you
oh
do that?
good, oh
I
good,
was, because I just thought, no, no.
No, 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 no.
When did you
well,
switch to the higher rep, and how? Like, what was the decision?
I and I don't know if this exists outside of my own mind, because I've heard women described this way, but I think of myself as a Zwischenfach because it takes me about a month and I can go back to being a bass. I can go back to singing Pasquale. I can go back, like I had during the pandemic, I was supposed to do Figaro at in LA. And like I'm also in a couple months, I'm gonna do like the bass solos in Matthew's Passion.
Cool.
So I have to do some very intentional work between gigs to switch back and forth. But I for me my okay sorry tech diversion. I disagree with a lot of like Fach categorization where people into Fach because what I've discovered stalking people and stalking different singers is that many people that I've seen could sing other rep, but they sing with the technique of a certain Fach, especially with low voice males.
Okay.
There there is a, there is a specific technique and adduction of the chords that works for bass and bass baritones that is not applicable to higher Helden work or Verdi baritone work,
Okay.
where the the resonance being higher and lifting so much of the chest voice up,
Mhm.
um, there's it requires less of an intentional adduction,
Okay.
and in my low rep, I'm able to manage more of my bite and resonance and airflow, especially like on an E vowel. If I'm going down into my low range, like down to a low F, there's a connection here that I can specifically manipulate while
Okay.
connecting it off, while connecting it to my hard, but that can make a low note carry and cut,
Okay.
where that in the upper range, when you're doing work, you don't have to do that at all because the frequencies are already resonating up that high. They're like you were saying last night, like it has to be up and down, it has to go
Yeah.
that. And at that point, frequency wise, you just have to open.
Right. And
It
the
just,
chords, you don't need as much chord. They're not doing that. Like on those low notes, they're very slow. But on the high notes, only the very tip is touching. So if you
yeah,
shove more air into it, people on the high notes, then they're just gonna go, right? Yeah, like
yep.
spaz out. So that's
um,
interesting. So you, wow. I was just like
yeah.
mind blown. You were a bass. Okay. Yeah.
Good, good. And
So
because I really enjoy that rep, I really enjoy the comedic stuff. I grew up as a cellist as well. So like singing Donizetti and comedic stuff with the patter and all like the little do 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 is really enjoyable because that's what I used to play in the orchestra where all those little bass lines. You know.
can we go back to the old technique surfacing? So have you figured out a way through that? Have you been working?
Well, helped me last night, for instance. Um, it got real weird. I had this like rasp coming in, and I had also noticed this when I was wearing a mask. Um, that like we were just talking about was there was too much air slipping through. There was too much air, and I went to Maestra last night at intermission, and I said, okay, what am I doing wrong? And you brilliantly said, yes, I hear it. It's too wide. The vowels are too wide, and that's why it's spreading and too much sneaking through.
Yeah. Because that's how we sing with masks too, because we can't get this vertical opening because the masks are like this, right? So we
And
can't, we actually just can't open our mouths.
I don't know about, oh, I moved it. Sorry. I thought I had one.
Carrie, are you wearing masks in Seattle?
Yes. And
Oh.
I have to say, like the first rehearsal, I was like, oh, I need a minute because it was a musical. And I'm like, I was hearing myself so much that I was like, oh my God, that's awful. And then it almost like the voice went inward and it just grabbed my throat. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I need a minute. And I've learned that, and you see all of us do it, I swear to God. Anytime you go like up over a G, not, the G above the staff, it's like you pull your mask because you just need to not hear that sound coming back at you, because then all of a sudden it's like it goes too far back, and then what you're saying, it's spread and then it doesn't happen, and you're like, wait a minute,
You push.
yeah, and then you push, you're like, hi. And it's almost like you listen to the whole room and everybody is, it's just like everybody just wants to yank the mask. And I know in some rehearsal we're going to get, some HR memo that says stop yanking on your masks. But I mean, it is absolutely horrible to sing in a mask. I'm sorry, I would take a nose swab 50 times during a rehearsal to not have to wear it. Please, people.
Well, and it's and not to confuse the topic like societally and politically, because there are people who are like crazy conspiracy or like political like brainwash stuff where they're like, wear a mask because of CO2 and I don't wear a mask because it's uncomfortable and it's my right. I'm like, no, that is not what we are talking about. We are talking about a physical, technical, what is happening physically.
Yeah, it's hard.
We have a craft that is based on airflow and resonance, and putting something on your face. I'm like, it's not that. It's a literal obstruction to what we have to do for our job. That's why it's so frustrating.
And we were told
caring about the safety of other people in the room, or
right. Yeah. We were told here that I have to wear my mask in every rehearsal except for the final dress rehearsal. So I'm not even going to know. Like my final dress is when I get to take my mask off. They're talking right now because there's issues with AGMA and unions. And so I mean, I've asked what is there testing, but I also understand administration's point of view, because if one person is positive, we're all vaccinated, but if somebody has a breakthrough, then we're shut down or rehearsals stop, or there will be no rehearsals because we've got to. And so then you're like, yeah, fine, strap the mask on my face and let me do it. But there is a room, I've asked for it. They've been gracious enough to let me get in there almost every day, where one person can sing without a mask and the conductor and the pianist can be in the room with the mask.
Right.
So I've been at least able to have coachings and rehearsals for myself without the mask. And I try to do that daily because I remember where the high notes go, where the voice needs to move. And then when I'm in the room with the mask on, I'm remembering that sensation and I have to turn my ears off, which is also very difficult mentally because, it sounds different when with the mask on and you're trying to let it ride. Does that make sense?
Forget it. It sounds horrible.
But you deserve a Zits probe. You deserve a Zits probe.
They're trying.
I mean,
like they're like, maybe we might have 30 minutes, but then of course they want to do all the chorus. And then you're like, well, that leaves like 10 minutes to do. And we have all these arias that need to happen. So, you're just kind of like, I'm just going to go with the flow and practice without my mask and memorize that sensation. I sing on sensation anyway. So just remember that. And when I'm in my mask, stop the darkness by saying that sounds like shit. Because
can you mark down the octave, or can you just not sing full out?
I do in rehearsals. I do mark a bit, but then other times, like, I just really need to sing this. What happens if something, God forbid, something happens and they say you got to do the show in masks? I have to know how to do that. I have to know how to sing a show in a mask.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do a show in a mask.
No.
You know
me. I mean, I always like plan for every scenario. I try to plan for every scenario. So in my mind, I'm just trying to work that out. So,
well, they said here with us, we were very lucky in rehearsals. If it was just Craig and I doing our duets together, or if we were doing an aria, we were allowed to take our masks off in the rehearsal room if there weren't the children, because there's children actors that play witches, ghouls, devils, if they're not in the room as well. So if it was just us, then we were allowed to do that.
So this is what I don't understand, because we're not allowed to have children in the show. All of the rules are different than yours. And AGMA rules are different than yours. Why? Why is there not some standard across the board?
Each opera house negotiates their own AGMA contracts.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I thought I read that it was children actors 12. I don't know.
Oh, I think 12 and up can do it because they're allowed to be vaccinated, but 12 and under, no, we're not allowed to have children.
Yeah, our kids are older than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're 15.
Yeah,
they
I
had to
think
replace some of the kids at the Met too in Fire Shut Up and because they were.
I was like, I think our look young, but I'm pretty sure they're at least preteen, teen.
Yeah, they're 15, 16. I was talking to all of them. So I know, they're so cute. Liliana the girl was my Elizabeth in Anna Bolena.
Oh, yay.
And I mean, loved her when I did Anna Bolena here. And she was like, Sandra, very sweet. So it was nice to be back and going full circle. How great. Let's just acknowledge this. How great is it that we are all singing again?
For real, right?
Breath,
on stage
breath.
With people in the audience. Thank you.
Can I do a little story time?
Yeah. Lay it on me.
Okay, so this is my Sandra story that I have kept secret while working together. It's good. It's a good thing.
Okay.
What?
I can't remember when it was. I think it was like 09 or 08 or something like that. I got to the semifinals in the Met Council. And so I was able to come to New York and watch some stuff. And Sandra, you were the artist that they asked to come speak to us in our big group.
You were in that? How come I don't remember that? Oh my God. Upstairs at the Met?
And you chatted with us and did a little Q&A. And I was so smitten. I didn't move on to the finals. And it was a really good thing because in watching your dress rehearsals, it was with Horostovsky, the late great, and I can't remember, was it Trovatore? What was it? It was some Verdi.
It was either Baldo or Trovatore. Was it a rake stage? A big rake stage? Or?
It had a bunch of like ruins and scaffolding on one side or something. And there were soldiers.
That was a Trovatore.
Yeah,
David McVickers.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't. Okay,
All right.
Well, it was one of the dress rehearsals we got to go see, and I was saying a little before about like knowing where you are and knowing what you have to do. Like in my little world in Los Angeles, I was good, but when I went and saw you guys, I realized that there was proficient. And then there was this chasm between proficient singing and the alien top. Like that's what my wife and I call it, the alien sound. That there's something over there that's just different. It's that different, weird world of that very top singing that you two are able to do, and like that I now have somehow included in, which still freaks me out. But at that time, that was the perfect experience for me to not move on because I wasn't ready, and it taught me like that's where I have to go.
Cool.
That is my, once I cross that chasm, then I will be able to do that work. So you were that
was a dress rehearsal that I was sick. And I marked the whole thing, right?
Yes. You were sick.
I had the worst cold. Thanks.
That's awesome.
Come on.
Yeah, I marked the whole thing. I had a serious cold. And I almost didn't do it. But the Met back then had a rule that if you didn't sing the dress rehearsal, you didn't get opening night. for anybody. Dmitry Vodorovsky,
Rude.
blah. So
Rude.
It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. The best blocking. Like, we even talked to the group. We were like, geez Louise, like, if that's her blocking, like, screw me. Like, yeah.
Well, David McVicker.
David,
great, and a great cast. I mean, that was Dolores Zajic, Marcelo Alvarez,
love it,
Dmitry Vodorovsky, Marco Armiliato. I mean, it was like, what?
Okay.
Yeah. But look at that, full circle. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
How?
If you had told me at that time that in a decade I would be singing Macbeth and Lady Macbeth with you, I would have told you go fuck yourself.
Well, here's your opportunity. Go fuck yourself.
No, not you personally. I mean.
But how amazing! I mean, that is it's. I didn't know that. I mean, you had told me about LA Opera, that we were in the trilogy, the Tritico, together.
Yes.
Even though you were in a different show, but because the three shows didn't kind of mingle,
Yeah, we were in different rehearsals.
Absolutely.
We never saw each other.
I love that. That's awesome.
And you know what? And look, all that hard work, and you taking that time to say, "Hey, I'm not ready. I got to work harder." Good for you. And a lot of young singers need to hear that and practice that.
Yes. It's okay to not be ready. It's okay to not get the audition, to not win the competition and go, oh, like at the time, because all you want at the time is to be validated and to be told you're good enough. And really what you need to be doing is saying, what is that thing over there that I don't have? That's the question. Is you have
how do I get there and how do I do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to be happily inadequate and say that's my job is to say I'm not the best.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? Being in the Young Artist program there taught me that daily. Every rehearsal you go to, every performance, you just go, yep, you're not there yet, Sandra, and you got a long way to go.
Work.
So, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to embarrass you or put you on the spot. I'm okay, good.
I don't get embarrassed. I think you kind of know that about me right now. Like, Carrie knows it takes a lot to embarrass me. So
yes, I don't. Yeah.
Do we have any more questions, or are we ready for some rapid fires?
I think rapid fires sounds good. Are you ready for it though?
I think so. I just still am so tickled that I'm on the Screaming Divas because the people you interview, I'm like, oh. I just wanted to comment on. I really enjoyed the interview with Kate Lindsay the other day. That was really cool.
She's a good egg, isn't she?
Yeah. I haven't gotten to meet her, but we keep rotating around each other, and it was cool because over the pandemic, LA gave out this really nice award, Stearns, as the Stearns, super. I mean, they're the heart, the pumping heart of Los Angeles opera, and they created this award for them that's like a grant, and they split it up. And Josh Guerrero, who is our Macduff, and Kate and Angel Blue and I, and was there somebody else? There might have been somebody else. Shame on me for forgetting, but whatever. They split the grant among us to help support. And Kate's one of those people that from afar, I've always been like, wow, like I cannot wait to sing with her. And like, we're the same age. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is
she's amazing.
Who I'm like, another person that I was like, I can't believe I'm on that list with somebody like her, or it's just like, oh, wow.
Cool.
Okay.
But you know what, Craig, I think all that hard work and all that time that you took really has paid off.
And
I really think so.
It's amazing.
I think so.
Before we start rapid fire, I'm really in love with the Macbeth nail polish that's going on right now.
Thank you.
I know. We had one day we had the same color. I was like,
it's looking pretty fierce, Craig. I'm really loving it.
Thank you.
Okay. Rapid fire. We're going old school. We're going to go back to the beginning of Screaming Divas.
James Lipton.
James Lipton questions. What is your favorite word?
What is my favorite word? Probably fuck.
Oh, well, okay. So that's 2 questions done.
It's everything. It's everything. Fuck can be everything. It can be bad. It can be good. It can be sexual. It can be dismissive. It is the most useful word. It has the utility of everything in our language, and it feels incredible. Yep. Have you ever worked with Chuck Hudson?
Mm-mm.
No.
Chuck Hudson's a phenomenal director, and he works with the Marilla kids every summer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He's real tough on them, but as a director, he's much sweeter. He's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. I've done a couple shows with him. He was a Marcel Marceau's, and we do this wonderful exercise where we break down all of our steps as we go, like really meticulous little steps of movement and reaction and how many, like it was just an exercise and whatnot. And then we verbalize what we're doing. And then the final step is to add fucking to everything. where first we're like, I'm walking across the room, I'm tripping, I'm looking to see what I tripped on. And then you go through the whole process. And then the next time, I'm walking.
That's good.
Walking across the fucking room. I'm fucking looking at this. So
there you go.
So it's fucking acting. It's fucking acting. Where if you can't get your energy up, just add fucking to all of your subtext.
Perfect.
And it really,
there you go. You're right fucking up. Lucia. Yeah.
I'm fucking Lucia. That I can remember my name in rehearsal the other day. I was like, me Kalman, know what? Okay.
So least favorite word.
Sorry, it's for our non-PG, non-PG.
Craig, we are so not PG rated.
Nope. Okay, right. What is your, Sandra?
Least favorite word.
Yeah, but God, what? Like the definition of the word, or just the word itself?
Just a word.
Just the word.
Alt mode.
Alt mode?
No, a mode.
Craig, would you like that? In
a close second is BBQ.
BBQ.
I'm gonna go have some BBQ. Can I get that a la mode?
Okay, I will never say those things to you again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. What turns you on?
Oh,
my goodness. Scandalous.
James Lipton, he's the one who wrote them.
Androgyny. And incredibly assertive women.
Ooh. So then what turns you off?
What turns me off? Oh God, toxic masculinity.
Love that. Real, right? I can take that one. Okay, what
Bro.
sound? What?
Bro. I'm gonna.
Let's go.
Okay, what sound or noise do you love?
Oh, what sound and noise do I love? Oh gosh. I love the sound of rain and thunder. I love the sound of my baby's voice. Yeah, those are good.
Those are good.
And the ones you hate?
Mm-hmm.
The sounds I hate.
Sound or noise that you hate?
The sound of celebrated ignorance.
What profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt?
Oh, well, I taught kindergarten with my wife for 10 summers for several years before I started doing this professionally. I'd love to go back and do that. I was also a youth pastor for 6 years, and I'm about to teach college level for the first time, and I think I'm going to really enjoy that because they actually
at Pepperdine.
That's awesome.
But it's just like shameless plug. Pepperdine
Just
University.
thank you. Pepperdine University, one of the best undergrad opera programs in the country.
Nice.
Absolutely. They do a full original language opera every year.
Cool.
All undergrad, live orchestra. There, it's you're gonna do undergrad. That's where you want to go for classical.
Awesome.
Yay.
And so definitely back to working with kids or teaching.
Gotcha.
Cool.
What profession would you not like to do?
Profession would I not like to do?
Empty porta potty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, exactly. Like there are
the obvious.
You've got your standard like painful labor jobs, but I'm going to skip that because that's just that's low hanging for just the pain of life. But I think I would curl up and die if I was like a stock trader.
Ooh.
Like if I had to do like numbers and just abstract evaluations of lifeless, soul sucking. That would be its own kind of hell. Yeah.
And Carrie?
And the last question.
There already. Oh.
I'm just so glad that note came out right now.
I would be about 4 octaves lower than that right now.
Okay. If heaven exists, what do you want to hear God say as you walk through the pearly gates?
This one's actually pretty easy. So I'm glad that you prefaced it with if heaven exists.
If heaven.
Because my religious affiliation, one of the first tenets is the admission of ignorance. So my first thing is if you were in just a strictly like Judeo-Christian tradition, I would go with the poem "Love Bade Me Welcome." So that's a quick answer. If you want to go read that. It's great. But for me personally, if there were an all-powerful, omnipotent being, that being would never get tired and would have a facility to be compassionate eternally and on all levels. So when someone died, if I were that omnipotent, compassionate being, there's not a question of punishment or reward. There is the power to heal. So returning to that unity, God would first heal me. To me, I know this is what you love. I know you love seeing people healed. So come join me in that, and we'll do that.
Cool.
That's beautiful. Yay.
That's nice.
Well, thanks for joining us today. It's been very lovely, and
thank you.
Getting to know you even better, even though we're in a show together, and I know you and Carrie have done plenty of shows together, but there we go.
I really appreciate it. You're both absolutely fantastic.
Thank you for doing this with us. I just think you're such an incredibly special person, and I adore you. And I just wanted to talk to you to find out. I mean, this is such a big thing that happened, and I love where your career has been and where it's going. And I just felt like that needed to be shared with everybody. And so thanks for wanting to share it. Love it.
Thank
you. Yay.
Thank you.
And I will see you on Sunday.
Yes. Love to you both.
Love you too.
Bye.